record. Who is it pointed at? Who can?
Wait, what if there's me?
I don't want to be.
Wait, you can't see them people.
We're not complaining.
All right.
Tyler, we're not complaining.
Now, Carissa has offered to start us off. Are you guys ready for your system? Remember, a plus is a claim.
Should you put yourself?
Yes. And E is evidence. A negative is a counterclaim. A is adding on. Star your leaders.
What if it's a question?
That's cool.
Question
Sure.
mark.
You?
Question mark.
That's a good idea. Yes. Q for question mark.
Or maybe a question mark.
Just a
question.
Just a question mark. Yeah, that's a good idea. For a question. All right, Carissa, start us off.
Okay, so Lane is pointed at you. What do you think? Like you said, it'd be wrong to make designer babies for now. Like, do you think it'd be more ethical in the future?
Well, I think that right now we don't have enough technology to do it all. Like, not everybody would have the money and the power to have designer babies right now, and then that would create a social issue. And the babies could be still, they could be wrong still because the technology is not 100% yet. So until that we can prove that the babies are gonna come out right and normal, then I don't think we should be creating babies that can come out not normal.
I agree with Lane on his claim of the babies. Like, I think our technology isn't as advanced as we think it is. Like, right now we could if we wanted to, but so many problems could come up while doing it that it could just mess everything else up. So I think we should. At the same time, I think we should do it all. But then again, it's the technology isn't as advanced if we were to design our own children.
Yeah, and in the reading it said that the technology might be impossible to develop, and no one's tried it on children.
Kylie, that's evidence. So just so you're staying with the game. Nice.
And I just always go back to that, how mothers and fathers and family is supposed to love you no matter what you are, and not try to change you.
And I kind of think that we should keep on testing it on animals to get it right, and so we're not screwing up other people. So we keep on testing it.
I agree with Ben, but I don't think it's ethical to just go out and ruin an animal by I don't think the animal did anything wrong, that they need to be a test subject. But I do think that if they're getting closer and they believe that their test is gonna work, then that might be better because the animal's probably gonna be okay more than likely. But I don't think that you should just start with an animal before you've done any research or anything like that and just know that you're gonna ruin the animal basically.
And by ruining that animal, it might do some bad stuff to the environment and cause a lot of species to go extinct, maybe.
Well, I don't think the scientists realize they're ruining it. To them, they're trying to make a breakthrough, so it could work.
But also, they could be doing it in the lab.
Devin, you kind of said the same thing like Lane did when you were I don't think that we should be able to create modified genes right now, and then you said maybe in the future if we need to.
Well, yeah, if it was crucial for us to survive because our genes are our genetic strands or genome wasn't that couldn't help us to survive, we need better ones so we can survive and not go extinct.
And I also think that you almost won't be a true parent if you're changing your baby because it's not what was like
They
actually.
can't consent.
Yeah, so like it won't be actual baby they would have had.
Michael,
It would be like
Michael, can you repeat what you said?
Because they can't consent to anything together.
Yeah.
Does the okay.
But if that baby is gonna have a disease that is life threatening and you can do something about it to change, I think that you definitely should. If you can. But if it's something that's small, is it gonna be that harmful? It can be treated. I don't think that you should change it just because it could be safer. But if it's something like cancer and you know it's gonna be harmful, I think it's worth a try at least.
But also, what if you like the technology now? If you were to do that now, and technology future could also do this. What if you were to help your child with like to try and cure the cancer, and something else goes wrong? Like someone with the gene affects another gene that affects like kind of like dominoes, like domino effect. So I honestly think that for like I would like there to be a way to cure cancer as a child so then you never get it. But then again, it's like, what if that were to do this and this and this, like cure cancer, but you are more prone to get this disease that's way more like harmful and there's like no
Oh,
cure.
like with the mouse when they like change something in its brain, so they learn more and had a good memory, but then they're more sensitive to pain.
But I don't think they'd try to cure the disease like that if they hadn't done like extensive research and they knew that it wasn't going to affect them. I don't think they would.
And I like just don't want babies to like become a science experiment.
Same.
They're babies.
Bottles of cuteness.
Paige, I'm gonna cut you out. When you were talking about GMOs, you said that they haven't been proven to do any harm to humans, but you think that we still shouldn't create or use them. Why?
Let me pull that comment up. Okay, so GMOs.
Not doing harm to humans isn't enough. We have to know that they're not going to affect the environment or the animals, and we don't know that. And I don't think we should use them if they're going to hurt them.
I'm gonna call you out, Amanda, a little bit because I just read this and I think it's interesting. So, in your opinion, you say that GMOs would be okay, GMOs would be all right to use for specific reasons, like the benefits. Why do you think?
So I think GMOs, so it's obviously a controversial topic, so I'm kind of stuck in the middle a little bit because there's the nutritional factor that GMOs could, like they have the example of the vitamin A, if you increase vitamin A in rice, which a lot of people eat, then developing countries could not have vitamin A deficiency. But I also think that they could have other problems like with allergies. I think scientists have to be careful how they use their GMO foods. So
Yeah,
they
like
don't cause allergies.
the scientists also need to make sure that they're putting everything that they put into the GMO food so people can watch out for anything they're allergic to.
Yeah, that was a big topic too, like combining two foods that people would normally have allergies to, and then putting them together, and that could create even more of an allergy. So, what are gonna it could be helpful, but then other people can't even eat it. So, who would it benefit?
I'm gonna call Sai out here a little bit. I see this comment that it says it's okay if you can allow some humans to have like super strength or super smart. Can you explain that?
What I'm basically saying is like for the advancement of our species, I think that if we like change other people, we would become like more diverse in some areas. Like we could create a whole new species, like of superhuman or something like that. Like kind of just along the lines of that, or super smart people, just like I don't know, advance our technologies and medical breakthroughs. Yeah.
Preston said like it would be unfair to the people that can afford it, and I like agree with that because even in the article, people were like it would create like a social wall between people who can afford designer babies and people who can't.
I agree with Carissa because we already have enough, social divides in our society that if you add on more things like the designer babies and stuff like that, that's just going to make it even worse. And that could bring out other issues in our society.
And for the GMOs, I think changing their genetic code could cause some reproduction errors and could cause a snowball effect. As in, like, some bees may pollinate from that one flower that they changed to produce more of whatever they needed in their environment, that the humans need in their environment. And then the bees that don't like that flower anymore, that's the only thing they can have, so they die. And then things were eating the bees, so they died. They needed the pollination, so then they died. It caused a snowball effect. So I think GMOs aren't really, that good, even if they're just to stop the diseases that can cause other side effects we wouldn't have seen.
I agree with Michael on that because there's good benefits like to GM foods. You got more nutrition, like it benefits better tasting. I guess that's not really a big benefit, but it's a good benefit. And like it's so much more advanced and better for us for future wise. But right now, like it's messing up our earth even more, especially on top of climate change and global warming and stuff. It's just like all the chemicals from like because it said in the article that farmers when they have these GMO foods and crops in their farms, they have to use more pesticide and all these more chemicals that could easily just keep polluting our water with chemicals even more than they already do.
The article also said that we don't know how, like, if animals ate the GMO crops, we don't know how it would affect the animals.
A lot of people like running through the claims said they'd be okay with genetically modified food if it was like perfected and didn't have any bad.
It won't be perfected though. There's too much to it that we don't even know. It'll take too long, and by that time there can be something else that we couldn't even think of because we're humans that we'll find, and then it'll be way easier than just using genetically modified foods to end world hunger or something like that. It's never gonna happen.
I disagree with Michael. I think that if we don't start trying to like make GMOs better and improve them, like if we just stop, it would actually affect us more than just keep going because eventually we're gonna need this with like the bigger population and stuff. We're gonna need more crops and stuff to like feed the world. And I think there's obviously better ways out there that won't affect the environment. And I think they can perfect them to be safe for everything.
Yeah, and countries that might say that so far in the future, I understand, but other countries, if we just stop eating GMOs, other countries that need like all those vitamins that they would add more to, like the third world countries, they need those more.
Except those third world countries, there's more diseases to be had now because there's snowball effects. If you change, as I explained, if you change one of those foods, if you genetically modify it, you have no idea what the repercussions and things that could destroy the entire country because of some random thing that you couldn't have seen. It's just too complicated to really change too much. To change something that was natural to the environment that's gone through thousands of years of adapting to the environment and then to change it to try to make something better, it doesn't end well in scientific movies.
So then, what's the difference from the scientists trying to change the environment to make it better instead of having evolution change things to make
The
it better?
scientists don't know what they're doing. It's always as like another one of us says like science is just thinking around and then writing it down. So you don't really know when you're a scientist. You don't really know what you're doing because it's too complicated.
Okay, this is one of those conversations where you're like torn in the middle because like you see like all the benefits of GMO foods, like it could help that, but then we don't know what it could affect.
It's a trade-off.
It's
It's a trade-off. It could cause a lot of harms, but it could
like a
give a lot of good
balance.
things.
It's like a balance in this argument because like Lane is like saying, oh, like this could really help our earth, and if we start now, we can like learn from this. We can get more information about like genetics and all that. But then Michael is like saying like, oh, but what if we start this and like all this happens and like we wouldn't have enough time to do it now, and it's just like really torn conversation. So
So then on yours it says that you think it's okay to change animals to win something, but not to change like babies. And I was wondering why.
Like with like animals, like making them like bigger and like better, like for like competitions, like in like years, and stuff like that.
Not like pit bulls, but show cows.
Yeah.
Okay.
And mine about genetically modifying humans. Doing so, it's not as dangerous. I mean, it's still dangerous in humans, but it's not like there's gonna be a snowball effect. As often, chances are there's not gonna be a snowball effect with a human rather than a GMO, because a lot of things are lying, with the plant. But some jobs require heavy labor, and the human body could maybe like isn't strong enough to do it. So like changing the human body to get stronger would help that job.
So going back to Ben, when he said that like he thinks it's okay to change animals for show. I think that like I agree with that, but if we're gonna start changing animals, then we have to have like a cutoff line somewhere because then you're gonna have people that like are pushing them so far that they're gonna hurt the animals instead of actually helping.
Yeah, like in the reading it said that like the Belgian blues cows that like they did the work with their muscles so they won't stop growing, and eventually like females can't even give a natural birth because they're like thigh or like their leg muscles are so big, like they have to have C-section.
Emma, I'm gonna pick on you a little bit because I'm wondering what you think. What do you think about like having your baby designed in certain ways to make it?
I think if you are going to change your baby, like you have like choose its hair color or its eye color, that I think you shouldn't do that. It just doesn't seem right. But if you're going to cure like a major disease, then I think that would be okay. But once you know like it's not going to harm them in the future, like I put in my claim that if it like what if something goes wrong and like then you can't like give birth to the baby, or if later in the future it harms them someday, then you shouldn't do it.
There was this one scientist that said in like a speech or something, and he said there was no scientific evidence associating GMOs with higher risks for the environment or for food safety than conventional plants and organisms. But then I read like another thing, another article, and it said like there were like 37 people died from allergic reactions.
Yeah, the one where so in 1989, I have it written down here from the thing. It says 1989 genetically modified dietary supplement of Tran allegedly killed 37 people, permanently disabling 1,500 people. It caused 5,000 people to develop a blood disorder before FDA was able to recall the product.
Yeah, so I don't really know how this dude can say that after that incident.
Like I don't get how. I get how people can back it up, saying like this could help with hunger and like help with certain things, but then like reading this, you're like, oh, it took them that long in order to actually recall the product and save all these other people. But even then, there's just an effect. Like everyone's affected. Like 1,500 people can't walk or can't move a limb, and like 5,000 people are just left with a disorder because they use this product because it was modified. And that brings me back to like the whole baby thing. Like, what if we cure something within them and we make it better for the child, but then in the future something happens within the genes because we tried and helped the baby in early life, what if that just gets worse and something else like develops?
But we can't get better at what they're trying to do without testing. So I really think that they should keep going and they should keep testing and they should keep asking questions and debating. But I don't think we should try it out on anybody until we really know for sure what the positive effects are going to be and what all the negatives are. And if there is a negative, how are you going to fix that before anything
But
happens?
I can't imagine it getting anywhere past, changing some genes. So, fixing genes so that they never can have errors. I can't imagine it going any past that. Simply because it just gets too confusing. I do want them to keep testing it, and I do want them to keep getting better and learning about it and all the problems that are with it and solving those problems. But I don't think GMOs should. I don't think you should change a plant because obviously that one incident where tons of people were hurt. Yeah, I kind of wanted the ability to change genes to get better, but I don't want it to go too far before problems start to arise that could change.
Yeah, and Emmanuel, on your plane thing, you said you shouldn't be able to change any part of your baby. Like, do you mean like even if they have an incurable disease, like you wouldn't even want them to try?
Yeah, because I know it sounds kind of harsh, like, oh, not at all, even if they have cancer. But I think research-wise, like, as a child, if you have, like, a disease that you could cure, like, I think that if we were to do that, then, like, what if that thing grows stronger? And since we genetically modified it, there's no, like, research on this affects this. So then, like, we'd be low on research. So then that would take even longer to try and help that if you didn't genetically modify it. So I think, yes, there are some things that I think should be genetically modified, disease or like cancer-wise, but I think that in some ways there shouldn't, like, we should try and like get as much research as we can to try in future to help that if it does grow stronger or gets more like advanced.
I feel like we need to just keep working on it and researching it and like make it as safe as possible. Like obviously it's not going to be perfect because there's always a problem with something, but like they should get it as close to perfect as they can before they try it on people.
Michael, what do you think about designer babies?
Kind of on the fence about it because, like, some people said, like, because it still is your kid, and like you could get certain traits out of it, but kind of like somebody else said, you go with whatever your child is, if they're even like disabled or not even all the traits that you want them, they're still your kid.
Anybody else have something to say?
I was wondering what Jeremy was thinking about GMO. Because like
Jeremy, have you had an opportunity to read the GMO articles?
Yeah, I'm on it right now.
Okay, what do you think? I'm not calling him out because he was absent. I don't know if you had the chance to finish.
I'm all about to so GMOs are genetically modified organisms. So basically, what they're saying is, if we have like our food could probably contain these, and we don't even know it. And it's
Well,
not
yeah,
affecting
because like
us.
in Argentina, it was like 100%.
Yeah, 100% for genetically
Like
modified.
soya.
yeah, and then like
93 in America and
yeah,
88 in Brazil. So
like,
we could still have it in any of our foods, and we won't know it, and we still won't get like sick over it, like what there has been.
but then what they're trying to say is like it could cause allergies.
Yes.
Like I see what you're saying, like how we don't know it's there, and like we don't know it's there, like, oh, we don't get sick if we eat it. But certain people have like a gene or like have something that causes that reaction of allergies to that GMO. So I think that I agree with you on that, but also I think that we shouldn't go to a certain point. I think we should do certain things like rice, where they have more of vitamin A, but I don't think like we should like beef up our cows or like beef up like all those other things. I think we should just do what we need to do, not just like do things we don't.
I think they should have a purpose behind it, like the
Yeah.
rice gives you more vitamin A.
Which can help other things.
Here's the thing.
Well,
Here's the thing about vitamin A. There's some vitamins, maybe not vitamin A in particular. Some vitamins are, they're kind of like I want acid content, and maybe not vitamins in general, but anything added to it. You think it might be a good idea? There might be a new creature that comes along. It's not supposed to be there. Then gets a hold of the genetically modified thing that supposedly helps, and then it kind of ruins the entire environment. There's so many unforeseen consequences that you never can predict because vitamin A is an acidus, and like, you can't hurt anything. It's good for everything. But there's always things that can use that vitamin A to its advantage and maybe take over it.
How often today do you hear something that is linked to GMO? Like someone that is like the disease where 37 people were killed. How often do you do it?
But it's a risk, and people don't like taking risks.
See,
I'm
I'm taking it
it's a gamble
without
in life.
knowing it.
It's a gamble. You either want to have a problem, which is only 1% chance. Oh, it's only 1% chance, but that problem exists. Then you have an entire dystopian society that's like ruined by this one thing. And I would say chances are really, really lower than 1% if we ever use GMOs because we research it.
I agree.
I don't like 1% chance.
Because like I think he brings up like a really good key point that you probably are gonna go to lunch today and eat something that's genetically modified, and you're not even gonna think, you're not gonna
But that's
think
where
twice about
scientists need to be open to the public about what they're putting in our food
like
and what they're doing.
Like they're kind of like using us as guinea pigs. I'm just saying.
Yes.
If we use it correctly, we can actually cure something with GMO.
Yeah, if we use it in the right sense and not try to like use it just to like for experiments. Like if we use it to help people, then it could have some good effects.
Amanda, what do you think? So I agree. Like I feel like if we do this correctly, GM foods could do a lot of good stuff and could help people, but we have to be careful not to just affect something and put it out and just see what happens. Like you have to make sure that you've tested everything to make sure that it won't affect other humans or maybe other animals in our environment before you go out and test it.
Going back to like the cattle thing, like about like, but how like going like back to like how like we're like changing them, like we can get like more like product out of them, like more milk, more eggs, all that kind of stuff.
This is off topic. I just synthetic furry
Yeah. like that.
Really
like the word.
I have those ticks too. You guys probably know that I say guys a lot, and I say, every time someone comes in, when you're speaking, I want to end the discussion and talk about how it went. Holy cow, guys! Like, I am so impressed with you. How many people talked?
I think everybody talked.
Yeah. Did you talk, Jackson?
Yeah, Jackson talked.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Jackson's not ready to end the conversation.
I still have one more question.
He has one more question. Go for it.
What makes Emma? What makes you think it's okay to change other organisms but not humans?
Well, I'm not saying like I want organisms to be changed either. I'm saying that with humans and organisms, we should be prepared. Like we should have all the research, all we know. We need to make sure our technologies 100%. So then when we do it, it's not like, oh, we did it. Now there's this incurable disease that's gonna kill everyone.
But we can't do research without testing on something. So we
Yeah,
have
so
to do
we
that.
need
Don't
to-
you think
When
it's
doctors
okay?
saying they're saying, why are you testing me and not a human?
Well, now
Maybe we should test it on robots.
And like what Ben
I
said,
don't know.
why
robots? In Ben's claim, in Ben's claim, he said that like basically the same thing. How like it's okay to do it on animals because you like basically some of us think that you can get more benefit from like doing it to animals and plants than you would humans.
Would he?
But
Speak up, Jackson.
Couldn't that be considered inhumane
Yeah.
to most?
see, I don't think it's okay to test it on animals if it's not okay to test it on humans. What makes that right?
When are you gonna
But-
test it on them?
Yeah. We don't just
It's an ethical decision. Who do you care about more, your dog or your mother?
Dog.
Both.
Dog.
It
Dog.
depends.
Dog.
It depends.
We need to like
But I don't
I love